So that new Kingdom Hearts game has been out for a few weeks, and I've been waiting on this one because I just knew I was going to have something to say about it. We're going to be pretty quick about this one though, because that's really only one thing I've got to say about it. Originally, I was going to review it as a full rhythm game, talking about the whole package and the way it plays, but it's pretty great overall. I feel like these kind of music games live and die by having good controls and memorable tunes, and this one's got both, so I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time digging into it. Then I got through the story mode, and I was going to talk about all the wacky hijinks and where I thought it was going to go with this whole fictional universe business, because it gets pretty fucking weird at the end. But while normally I'd rip this kind of curveball to shreds because it's such a major twist, this stuff's just kind of par for the course with the Kingdom Hearts games, so I'm a lot more forgiving about it. I kept going back and forth about whether I like it or not, and in the end, I'm way more down to have another wild and crazy story, and I'm glad the people making these games decided to double down on it. I have a very personal relationship with these games that makes it really hard to hate them, and these were the kind of stories I was growing up on, so I'm a lot more callous to the lore of this series than most other stuff. Who knows? One of these days, I'll probably make reviews of the other Kingdom Hearts games and dive into the love-hate relationship I have with the writing. Some days I really like it, and others it makes me want to walk into the fucking ocean. And you happen to catch me on a day where I do in fact like it, so I'm gonna give it a pass for now. But there was one thing I do have to say that makes me kinda nervous about where these games are headed, because I've seen it once, and I was hoping I wouldn't see it again. Why does this game have lore in it? You put all the setup for your new arc in a rhythm game? Hatsune Miku didn't ask for this shit. Think about how confused the people who reasonably skipped out on the $60 rhythm game are gonna be. You do realize you don't have to put lore in everything you make, right? Right? You could have just made Disney Dance Dance Revolution and nobody would have said anything. I was sat down watching the very important story for this game, and at the end of 40 minutes of cutscenes, the light bulb went off in my head. Oh, this is just Birth by Sleep again. A lot of people went into Kingdom Hearts 3 having no idea what was happening because very important information was in games that were not treated as important. And this wasn't just new players who saw a shiny new Disney game to play. A lot of fans ended up skipping the games with important shit in them because they either didn't have a PSP or a DS to play them on, or they didn't know that the spin-off games were spin-offs at all. And I'm glad Square Enix and the Kingdom Hearts team is learning from their mistakes, but I think they only learned one of two lessons. For starters, this game and Kingdom Hearts 3 were both multi-platform, with this one going to Switch, which is great because now more people than ever have access to these games. But I think the developers forgot to account for the fact that not everyone's gonna be into rhythm games. I played it from the perspective of a person who loves both Kingdom Hearts and music pretty equally, so this game was right up my alley, but not everyone who's into Kingdom Hearts is gonna be into rhythm games, especially considering that most of the series is more action-oriented. And judging by how only a third of people who bought the game actually beat the story mode, I think we'll have some confusion brewing. Some people just saw that the first few cutscenes were recapping the series and thought it was just gonna be that for the whole game, and skipped out on all the setup. Yeah, some fans are gonna watch a cutscene movie and call it a day, but it's not guaranteed that everyone will, and that doesn't really account for new players who buy the next Kingdom Hearts because it looks cool and have no idea what's going on. Hopefully they'll do things to make it easier to follow. Kingdom Hearts 3 had an entire section dedicated to getting people caught up, and Miles Morales had a pretty cool last time on segment that gave new players the cliff notes of the story, so they've got options. I don't particularly think it's bad that the story is ongoing, but I know there was a lot of confusion through the last arc because of how Nomura and his team set up the story, and I'm just a little nervous of it happening again. I love this series, but it would really benefit if it was more accessible to new players, because as it stands, they've got some work to do. And judging by Nomura's recent tweets, it looks like they've got time to figure it out. Now go make me a real Kyrie game, boys.